What's up, guys? We're watching Throwback Thursdays, and as you can see, we're already having a really good time. I'm your host, Metaltainment, and I'm here with Roxy Barrow and Elizabeth Gore, and we're here today to talk about Evil Dead. And today's guest hosts are Mr. Richard Orellana from Madrost and Mr. Mario Moreno from Exmortus. All right, guys, so how's everyone doing? Good?
Doing good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm crying.
She's
crying. Actually, she is crying.
She's just really sad that they remade the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, because honestly, I was a little confused if I liked the idea or not. At first, I was really against it because I'm a big fan of the cult classic, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think a lot of people who went to go see the movie usually go in, obviously knowing what to expect, but I think this time around, a good majority of people seen the second one, so they're going in thinking it's probably going to be all comedic and everything, not seeing the first one, but I thought it was great, obviously it's not going to try to emulate anything from the first one, just had like little bits and pieces from the first Evil Dead that I think like a big Evil Dead fan would notice.
It seemed more like a sequel than a remake, which is something that people were really confused about before. They didn't know whether it was a sequel or a remake.
Well, I think it was just like, I don't know, we missed the cheesiness, but what do you think?
Yeah, there's no cheese at all. Very dry.
Cheese.
Everything was in the pizza.
Everything was in the pizza, yeah. I think I had really high hopes for it.
Yeah.
And not that it was bad, but I kind of felt like they tried to pay tribute to the movie way too much. Like, they reference like so many little things. Like, I don't know, personally, I thought they tried to do that a lot. Like, in the beginning, he's like playing with some cards. And then I believe it's the first one, they're playing the card game. Like, a lot of little things trying to cram like the first two movies into, I don't know, I think it was like about a little over an hour.
Yeah, a little bit over an hour.
A little over an hour. So, it wasn't horrible, but
I know that we were talking about the infamous tree rape scene.
I was very disappointed. I wanted there to be more gore.
Yeah.
From the cult classic, it's a lot more sexual, or it's obvious that it is trying to possess her, and I didn't get that.
Well, I think this time around, they wanted to do a different take on the tree rape scene, because you don't want to go in, expecting to see something you've already seen from the original. So
It's true.
you don't want to go full rape.
Yeah.
Mild rape.
Actually, on that note, I thought it was really interesting that the budget for the original was $375,000, and the new one was $17 million.
Yeah.
That was insane. But you could tell with the effects, and
They were not CG.
yeah, they were not CG.
It was all prosthetics, just like the
cool.
original
That's
film.
badass. Yeah.
They wanted to really stick to
Yeah,
that.
that's what they were going for. So right now they're writing the script for this, the new one, the continuation story. And then hopefully soon we'll see Army Darkness 2. And eventually, as soon as they get this one, Army Darkness 2, they were talking about possibly crossing the original and this new one, like,
Oh shit.
so
That sounds
looking
crazy.
forward to that.
Wow. I think on my side, I was kind of I'm not disappointed, but it kind of, I have fear that a lot of people watching the new one, they don't know about the old one. So I feel that we have the old one was a cult classic. It really talked about a decade. It was that decade of like, if you're a teenager and you're in the woods, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah.
Like,
And rape,
and if you're gonna have sex,
Mild rape.
you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So it was that cult classic. It was
No
that
sex.
decade. So no, yes. So nowadays, I feel that someone's gonna go to the movies and not recognize that there is an old one, and I think that our children are just gonna forget, and that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
And I think that I didn't know that Bruce Campbell was a producer for it. When it came out, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I think that once you saw him in the end, to me it tied up, and then I did my research obviously, and I found out.
Well,
Those were interesting.
with the trilogy altogether, Bruce Campbell was always an executive producer with Sam Raimi and stuff, so he was always, behind the camera.
And that's cool that he's here again. Like, at least it stayed.
In spirit.
At least it's overseeing
Yeah.
the film.
Yeah.
That was the good thing, was that even though I prefer the originals more than the reboot,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say remake, I'm just going to say a reboot, they still like kept it somewhat true to like what I would expect.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
it kind of met some of my expectations.
Yeah.
And it didn't really disappoint me where I felt like it was a waste
No.
of money. Like
No.
a lot of movies that come out.
I liked
yeah.
how the gore was excessive, like how it's excessive in the cult classic. You know,
pretty funny.
really
Yeah.
disgusting pus
Yeah,
and guts
that was
and
cool. It was fun.
possession.
It was
It
fun.
was
Yeah,
fun.
at the
It
end
was
of the
At the
day,
end.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that it was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. A lot of people said it was a
Definitely
really scary movie. It did not scare me. It was just really funny.
It's hard. What
And I
scares
liked,
people these days?
but no, it wasn't a waste. Like it was a good
No,
film.
no. It was,
And if you watched
I wouldn't
it,
go as far as to say
no,
that.
you really had fun. I liked it, even though, like he said, it wasn't exactly. You couldn't exactly expect to see the same thing. So they
Yeah.
did really switch it up a notch. I like that.
And I like the whole reasoning for being there, like her kind of
The
being
drug?
like a little, like the
I
whole
like that
drug
too.
thing, and it kind of gave him a reason to be there and a reason not to leave.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Mhm.
kind of always feel like in horror movies, you're always like, why don't they just,
Yeah.
like, I don't know about you guys, but if I
Oh.
was in a cabin and like I thought some shit was gonna go down, I'd
Yeah.
take off.
Why don't you
Nobody's
just
gonna-
leave? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
She
always
tried.
like, hey, who's there? You know.
She
I'm gonna go
really
into this-
tried.
into
I got
this
raped
dark
by a
cellar.
tree.
Yeah.
Why are we still here?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go to
I
the
really
woods
like
and
that.
get raped.
Yeah.
You know,
And trip
right when I'm getting away.
5 times.
So,
Looking behind you.
And my clothes falls off and I'm still running.
Yeah.
No, totally. And then one of her favorites where she's like chopping off her arm.
When
oh, that was pretty brutal. Yeah.
when she's not bitch, not bitch.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and
Yeah.
then the boyfriend comes, honey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, arm.
Definitely had really good gore. Richard, I realized that you have a lot of like knowledge about the film. What would you say for someone that hasn't watched it?
Well, for someone that hasn't watched it,
We just spoiled it, but.
well, yeah, I mean, just going into the new one, obviously the director, made it for a new type of generation, and also he made it so like generations later, people aren't gonna forget, this horror classic. So I think you don't necessarily have to watch the first one to go into this movie to really understand it, but I think this one was made for newer type of
Generations?
generation, yeah. So yeah, I
Let's go.
actually had the pleasure of talking to the director too
Really?
Wow.
Where at?
at the ArcLight. It was the second
His house.
the second day. Yeah, it was my house. But
That's so cool.
Yeah, we were just going back and forth with the next script, so it was really great guy.
Wow.
The next script, hold on.
Are we like gonna see you there? Are you gonna do something?
No, well, I was just asking him, is there going to be another one? Someone there, they're writing the new script, so I'm really looking forward to that. He's a really down-to-earth guy.
Wow.
Also has an Italian accent.
And what about you, Mario? Like, in your case, that you really like the cult classic, what would you tell the people that haven't seen it and just like saw the reboot, as we're calling it?
Watch it. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that saw the new one, and then went to see the old one and
Yeah.
bashed on the original because they expect that like
Yeah.
one. I think they expect the same production. Like
That's
you know what I mean,
what-
they want to
mhm.
see some like crazy like blood like spewing out of
Yeah.
like every hole like.
I thought the basement, that was creepy. That was the only thing that
Yeah.
was creepy. Like the girl, it kind of almost looked like The Exorcist to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how she was cussing too, and maybe like
Yeah.
a little bit more
Yeah.
like, no bitch, don't.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little bit exorcist, but maybe that was just her style of acting, how to act possessed. Because
Yeah.
it's not a zombie movie, which a lot of people were kind of confused about. It's a possession movie.
Yeah.
It's about possession.
It's actually, it's funny because a lot of people were confusing, like the cabin in the woods with that movie
Oh,
Cabin in the
that's
Woods.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? No.
Just because it's a cabin in the woods, you guys don't
It's
understand.
not Evil Dead. Have you seen The Cabin in the Woods? I thought that was
I thought it was
phenomenal,
honestly
even
one
though
of the
some
best.
people said it was horrible.
I mean, I know we're jumping out. We're talking about
No,
Yeah,
Evil
it's kinda-
Dead, but I mean, Cabin in the Woods. Like, if you guys noticed that scene where they're betting on which monsters are going to come out.
Oh,
they have,
yes.
They have Deadites and raping
Yeah.
monsters on the board. So I think
They
that
definitely.
cabin is
Yeah.
supposed to like reference
It-
Evil
I-
Dead.
I think it
Oh.
is because they're trying to put people in there. I think they try to make it like, oh, this is scary, this is like the cabin. It was the Evil Dead, but it wasn't.
Okay.
I think Cabin in the Woods is they're saying that cabin is the cabin
Is
from Evil
yeah,
Dead.
because even the moon. Did you notice like the moon from the first one? It comes out in this one too. There's like a slight fog, and you could see the moon
yeah.
just like in the Evil Dead.
Then like instead like the deer mounted up on the wall. They had, like,
Exactly,
or something.
exactly.
In a way, it kind of paid tribute to it. So I
It
thought
kind
that
of
was
did
kinda
pay
cool.
tribute to it. That does get me excited though. That we're talking about Evil Dead, and just overall the horror genre. You know what I mean? Like it's getting better. I see a lot more horror flicks coming out, and I really hope to see more horror because it kind of died a little bit.
Good ones, I hope.
Yeah.
There's
really
a lot
good
of bad ones that come out.
Too much CGI.
Too much
It is.
CGI,
Yeah.
right?
I think they focus more on the CGI and the kind of shock value of like,
Yeah.
let's see what we can get away with. Like,
But we are seeing some stuff that is more gore than just pure CG, you know?
Yeah.
It gets really boring when it's just the effects and the effects and the effects. But so overall, guys, I guess it's not about like deciding which one's better or not. But you guys would definitely say watch the old one, watch the new one, right? It's all about supporting.
watch the old one.
Yeah, watch
And
the
Evil
old
Dead,
one.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, back to Evil
Yeah,
Dead.
watch the originals, yeah.
Yeah, because it's worth it. I mean, it's a cult classic, like we said, and for the new generations, it's also like a real good thrill to watch. And I'm looking forward to the rest.
Yeah, but
crazy.
to add on what you were saying before, just
Mhm.
in general, like 80s movies, like 80s, 90s, they didn't have CGI back then, so I think that's what made it original, and that's why I think a lot of horror movies today
It's
don't
like
really
everything.
capture
That's
that
right.
essence of that original horror.
I think they had to work more on the script and on the thrill than just all the effects that would go into
Yeah,
it. Whereas
everything
now-
was like makeshift.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're kind of relying on it now.
It was so like that's all
blood
you
spewing out of
had.
a garden hose.
Yeah.
Or like that milky substance from the Evil Dead one. Well, the one, the Evil Dead, the
Yeah.
original.
Yeah,
the
You know
original.
that milky thing that comes out of her face.
Yeah.
I never knew what that
Disgusting
was.
pus.
I think it's like baking soda or
Oh.
Yeah,
or
but was
something.
it supposed to be
Looks
pus
like
or?
applesauce or something.
Yeah, dude, that was like, and it just kept coming
Applesauce.
out of her
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That's good.
face. That is good.
Yeah.
Let's taste it right now.
Not coming out from someone's face.
And when the best friend died, it was kind of purple and green.
Yeah.
guts.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
That was cool.
I'll remember that girl like just sitting there and just laughing and tilting her head back and
So
forth. It was just
creepy.
in your mind.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna see the reboot like in their mid-20s. Like, what's gonna scare them? What's really gonna impress them at that
It's
age?
true.
Right.
That's true.
Having the originals as a reference and all kinds of crazy movies that have come out since
Absolutely.
then. So,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, sorry. you were
Well,
gonna-
it's 1980s, and then this is 2013.
big difference.
It's
Big
like
difference, yeah.
Big difference. We wanted to showcase the Evil Dead either way, with the new or the old. Just go watch it. It's a great film. And we really appreciate you guys being here today, Richard and Mario, and talking to
Yeah.
us about everything.
Oh,
Big
wow.
applause for these guys. And thank you guys for watching Throwback Thursdays. Don't forget to stay tuned. A lot of topics here, so just come hang out with us, and we'll go back and forth from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s and all the way to the 60s. So keep it